you know, we've always been afraid, well, if we don't give Cabela's the TIF or whatever, they'll go to Spearfish or they won't build. And we've been afraid of saying, well, we can say no to you and somebody else will come along. And they're, I think, less afraid to do that. The other thing, you know, one of the interesting thing is, and our TIFs generally are much larger and less site and specific, project specific. So, you know, with infill, the problem is generating enough, creating enough increase in the property value that it's going to create an increment that's large enough. But when I'm looking at the project costs, you know, it looks like you're always in the 1 to 3, 4, or 5 million at most, or 5 million is kind of a big one. I don't know if maybe the Sanford one was a little bigger, but you're not at the 10, 12, 13. You know, you kind of take out your financing costs, but I'm assuming your financing costs aren't adding 4 or 5 million to it. But
so we've had what we call a participation rate. So how much percentage is the TIF in terms of the overall project cost? And I would say that typically ours are 10% or under. That, you know, we don't have a written policy to that again, but you know, I think it's in the past we've been supportive of maybe a higher participation rate if, again, it meets more and more of the city's goals and objectives. And again, those aren't written, but in terms of how much we're willing to approve a TIF for is typically related to the project, the overall project cost associated.
It goes back to that philosophy of but for the TIF, the project would not happen.
and there's certainly, I would say, some developers would rather they have the, well, it looks like we're going to have this much increment generated, so let's find costs to fill, you know, consume that. But I mean, there's always, and that's, I guess, my point in the issue is with the infill, we've struggled because there's only so much increment that's going to be generated, and it's going to have to work based on how much you're going to have that limiting factor. When you have one lot or a site specific, that lot, I'll use the example of the President's Plaza when we were looking at that. You know, they were going to increase from 0 to 45 million was the estimate, and that still barely was going to pay off the ramp in the financing. But you know, at that point, the ramp costs were 10 million, 11 million. So plus financing, so you're up 16, 17 million. And as for infill, you just, that kind of shows you're going from 0 to 45 million, and that was not going to generate enough increment to pay it off potentially. And so, you know, you're talking about a much smaller participation, and you know, that makes sense to me, but you got to kind of get the developers to say, okay, I'm not going to get 10 million. What should our participation level be? And you know, it's going to have to be in a smaller, if you're looking at trying to do infill and redevelopment downtown, it's going to be smaller numbers than the 10, 12 million.
Questions for the Sioux Falls guys before. Just when you talk about affordable housing, and that's going to be some of your main focus. So are you looking outside of the downtown core? Is that going to be a major change for you? Will you be looking at just the ecological impact of the areas you're looking at for a blighted definition? Or will it be economical blight, where you can create jobs and those kinds of things by creating affordable housing for the people that are coming into Sioux Falls? You know, I mean, you're doing a lot of things. That's where we're already at. You know, we hear the affordable housing thing all the time. It's a unicorn. It doesn't exist, and I really would like to see it exist. But to me, I've not seen it yet, and I'd like to know how you guys can approach that.
Yeah, I think part of our emphasis is going to be going into these core neighborhoods.
Core neighborhoods.
And looking at, is there existing vacant land or properties that can be removed, structures, parcel enough lots together, and put up a new affordable housing project. So again, it would be redeveloping these infill projects is what I would see as the major focus with the housing. because that's gonna be closer to the services, the transit, the schools that people wanna live by, versus going out into a 20-acre greenfield area that's not near any services.
Okay. The other thing I'd like to say to this group is, like what Karen had to say, I am never going to develop the expertise on TIFs. I have neither the time nor the interest nor the expertise. I just don't have it. You know, so I would love to see a buffer group between the council and staff that could give us some information, you know, and tell us what we really need to know to say yes or no. I mean, because I'm not going to have that. You know, it's just, you guys, you're good at it. You know, it's not what I want to study that at night. And I love being on a council, but this is just not my area. So if we can get some people besides planning that really are interested and can give us some feedback and give us some definite information on how we can look at these things and make them the most beneficial for the people of Rapid City. That's what our job is. And so I don't feel that I've got that. I don't think Laura has that. I don't know, you know, maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Richie probably does, but there are developer interested council people